Hello and welcome to another episode of Balls and Brew, the flagship sports podcast of the Morgan Podcast Network. I am Rod Morgan, back in my familiar chair, the host chair. Thanks to the producer of this podcast, Jimmy Jamriska, for filling in for me last week. I was in Vegas. We'll probably talk a little bit about that as we go along. But if we're doing Balls and Brew, always with me is my main man from North Carolina. And if he threw a party and invited everyone he knew, he would see the greatest gift would be from me, and the card attached would say, "Thank you for being co-host." Chris King, hello.
Hello, Internet. Hey, Rod, how's it going?
I feel like I'm just coming back to myself, right? When you're in Vegas for, 72 hours, you kind of need a couple of days to adjust, but I'm back and ready to go. And speaking of needing to adjust, our guy, Josh Williams, had his first losing week last week, 1-2. Josh, hello.
What's up, man? I don't want to talk about that. I want to give props to your Golden Girls little intro there. Huge shout out to Betty White if she's listening.
I know Chris no-sells me on those intros all the time, doesn't he, Williams? Like, I don't understand why Chris no-sells me on those intros all the time. Chris, we got to send you back to broadcasting school. You're no-selling me, man. It's almost like you're trying to be a heel wrestler over there.
That's how it goes.
Chris sounds like he's in a bang-up mood, so let's get the pod going. All right, I was at a Las Vegas sports book in the Planet Hollywood Casino last week, so I got to be in the belly of the beast, Mr. Williams. I saw all the guys like you that got sheets everywhere all over the place and multiple plays going at one time, and I must say, it's kind of annoying, right? Like, you basically hear people pop up and cheer every 15 seconds. I was kind of like, man, get me out of here. And for some weird reason, they were serving food in there so you couldn't smoke. I was like, this is ridiculous.
It is slightly annoying if you have a play and you're focused on that play, and then there's a big group like just to the left of you, like 15 drunk guys cheering for the other side. It's like, come on, man. I mean, every single play they're just cheering, so that can get annoying. But man, the sports book, so many TVs to watch. It would be my dream right now.
It was very nice. I will say you wanted me to go to a different sports book, and it was at a different hotel a little ways away from us. So I just chose the Planet Hollywood where we were at, and I must say it was nice, but it was a little smaller than I wanted. Right? They didn't have a whole huge selection of cool soft recliners to be in, and those were of course filled up because I wasn't used to the 3-hour time difference there. Right? I was completely thrown off by the 1:00 games actually starting at closer to 10 o'clock. So I was all discombobulated, and then they said the 4:00 games were 1:30. It completely threw me off. Chris, what do you think? You know about my trouble with time zones when we get Matt Roberts on.
Yeah, that's the only thing that I find envious about the West Coast is you get to wake up Sunday morning and have football all day, over, early in the evening, and then you can go out and have some fun. Like, that's the one thing I really wish I could do here on the East Coast.
Well, speaking of hardcore degenerates, they're really going to have a chance this Sunday because we have a London game. So, I mean, they can wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning and start watching football, and then the 1:00 games kick off, and then the 4:00 games, and then the Sunday night game. So, a real degenerate Sunday. We'll get to that soon. But as I said, I was in a sports book, but our table wasn't great, so I don't have the detail that I have most weeks being able to flip around and watch stuff, so I'm going to have to lean on you guys. So, Mr. Williams, let's start with you. What was your biggest takeaway from week 4? Probably your Bears, maybe, right?
Yeah, I mean, they beat the Lions, so let's cool our jets there. But yeah, it was a good win. I got to give props to you guys, man. You guys, the very first week, you were on the Chargers, and I'm telling you, man, every week I like this team more and more. They've got the front runner for Coach of the Year. I think he's going to win Coach of the Year, Brandon Staley. And if you're a Bears fan, you are disappointed because you let him leave that room. He was a linebackers coach for the Bears a few years ago. And man, oh man, if we could have Brandon Staley over Nagy, the weatherman, saying all week that it's going to be Dalton, and then it's going to be Fields. If Dalton's healthy, it's going to be Dalton. Now it's Fields. So he's like the weatherman now. So, but yeah, this Chargers team is super impressive. They put the beat down on the Vegas Raiders, beat them by a couple touchdowns. So, Chargers moving up my charts. They're plus 225 to win the AFC West right now, and 10-1 to win the AFC conference. So this team is good, well coached defense. Herbert's awesome. So I like this team a lot.
Yeah, Herbert's been real impressive to me so far. And Chris, what do you think about that? Herbert wasn't necessarily the guy we were all told was going to be the man in that draft class, but it looks like he's going to be.
it helps that he has a solid team around him. That's for sure. Like William said, that defense is good, but he has played significantly better than I anticipated him playing this year. I was high on the Chargers, and he is still proving me that he's better than what I thought.
I mean, in Williams, are we dealing with a little bit of like he gets an awful lot of help out of what's the one guy's name that catches all the ball? Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, right? That's got to help a young quarterback having those two guys to throw to.
Yeah, but like we said last year, man, Anthony Lynn was doing him a disservice last year, running the ball so much on early downs. Now they have a better coaching staff. He's just super poised in the pocket, man. Nothing phases him. They're throwing the ball more intermediate to Mike Williams. He was always underrated, I thought, coming out of Clemson in 2017. Former first-round draft pick. He's having an awesome year. They got two huge red zone threats, Donald Parham and Jared Cook at tight ends. So and Austin Eckler is kind of like a do-it-all running back. So and this defense, this pass defense, number one in pass defense based on schedule adjusted teams that they've played. They just do not let teams pass on them, man. If you look at their schedule, you look at the results, all four of the teams that they have played, that is the worst offensive game that they have played all year. It was against the Chargers. So this team is loaded, man. Get on them right now for futures. This team's going places.
Let me ask you this. Are they the best team in the West, or maybe the team that's sort of in the West but the desert, are they maybe actually better than we thought?
I think the Chargers are better than Arizona. I know Arizona's the last undefeated team, but you're teasing one of my picks already, and it's
okay. All right,
you're gonna roll your eyes because it's classic Williams.
Oh, I love it, classic Williams. Always down for that. But no, Chris, I'll pose you the same question because I guess your Cowboys are really quite interested in how good the Arizona Cardinals are. So, I mean, who's better? Are the Chargers better, or maybe the Rams still better? I mean, who's the best team out on the West Coast?
Best team on the West Coast. There's really only two, and that's the Chargers and the Cardinals. Right now, I think I got to give it to Arizona, though. This is a team putting up like 35 points a game. Their defense is just about as good as the Chargers right now. I don't think they have quite the same strength of schedule as what they do. Let's see, strength of schedule for the Chargers is a little bit better than the Cardinals right now. The margin of victory for the Cardinals is like almost 14 points per game compared to only 5 points for the Chargers. The Cardinals are winning. They're winning big. I think I got to put the Cardinals above the Chargers. And I also don't think the Cardinals are the best team in the NFL either.
They're probably not. I think it's a little bit of fool's gold there, but it's almost like the way they do things in college football, right? The Cardinals are undefeated, so you got to give them respect. But San Diego's loss is a really, really good loss because Williams, correct me if I'm wrong here, but they only lost to the Chiefs, right?
No, they beat the Chiefs. They lost to Chris's Cowboys.
That's right.
No, okay.
And there was I know Chris probably isn't going to agree with me. And the Cowboys should have won that game. I'll give them credit. I like the
There
Cowboys.
was a call that changed the course.
Super questionable Tony Corrente classic call, offensive pass interference. And then there was another one, like illegal procedure. And it was like, what's going on here? So, Chargers and Cowboys, both really good.
I was good. So, Chris, let's go back to you then. Your big takeaway from Week 4 is it Cowboys related or is it something else?
I think the Bills have solidified themselves as the best team in the NFL.
Ooh, Josh Allen talk, love it.
And it's not Josh Allen talk. It's this defense. They have given up 44 points for the year so far. They have scored 134. There's some Josh Allen for you. That offense is humming, but that defense is not giving up points. They got a 90-point differential. Their margin of victory is like 22 points or something crazy astronomical like that. Yeah, 22.5 points is their margin of victory per game. This team is dominating. They had that one fluke loss week 1 that shows you what can happen week 1.
Yeah, they lost the Steelers, right?
And no one believes the Steelers are any good. And
definitely not.
So that's a fluke. Ever since then, it has been nothing but utter domination. The Bills, best team in the NFL.
Williams, I know you love you some coaching. I mean, that's definitely a strength up there in Buffalo, right?
Yeah, Sean McDermott's a really good coach. Can't disagree with Chris too much there. Bills are humming right now. The only thing that would worry me is that they don't really like to run the ball. And I know that's not as important in 2021 NFL, but that would worry me a little bit up in the cold. Especially if they play against somebody like the Chargers in the AFC Championship game or the Browns, who they both have really good pass defenses. So we'll see. The Bills are playing awesome right now. So I mean, I would say those three teams, and then you can never count out Kansas City either in the AFC. AFC playoffs are going to be awesome this year.
Yep, they are, and I'm going to have to find myself a new team to root for in the AFC playoffs because my team is not going to be anywhere near the AFC playoffs. I don't care that Carson Wentz beat the Dolphins. I'm still way down on this Colts team, and that's the only Colts talk that will hopefully be coming up the rest of this podcast. Chris, fill us in on how the props went last week.
We both went 1-1 last week, so we are both 4-4. I missed my James Conner rushing under. He ended up with like over 50 yards, 18 carries for 50 yards. I had him the under for 32.5. That kind of threw me for a loop. I did get my Michael Pittman over on 48.5 yards. He ended up getting 59 yards, so I got that. Williams, he got his Mike Gesicki reception over at
Isn't it Gesicki? Isn't it Gesicki?
I don't know.
I think it's Gesicki.
Gesicki, yeah. It's not Gia.
Well, I was just trying to make it like, the Many Saints of Newark just came out, right? I was trying to just really Italian it up there.
He got 5 catches for 57 yards, so we got that over. But Josh Allen went ahead and rushed for 41 yards, so that ruined his under on 35.5.
I mean, here I'm going to ask both of you guys a question here. Do you think we should start giving you guys 3 props just so you can't go 500 each week? I mean, this is ridiculous out of you two.
Maybe we can start that next week, but I only got 2 for the lineup tonight.
All right, here's what we'll do then. Since you don't have 3, that's fine. But if you guys both go 500 again this week, then you're doing 3 the following week. I'm sick of this 500 stuff. You're either going to be really bad or you're going to be good.
Right on.
All right, Williams, catch everybody up on the picks. Who'd you win with last week, and what were your 2 beats like?
I got to give props to Jimmy. Jimmy beat me to the punch. His upset pick of the week was the Jets over the Titans. I had Jets +7. I said that I thought that they could win outright, and lo and behold, they did. They tried to blow it there late.
They certainly did. That was one that had the sports book up in arms.
Yeah, and so we got the outright W there. God, I had the under. I should just took the under for the whole game for the Steelers. For the Steelers game, Steelers-Packers. The under hit in the first quarter and it hit for the total game, but it did not hit for the first half. Roethlisberger had a terrible turnover like inside his own 15 that kind of accelerated the scoring in the second quarter. So no excuses, lost that one. And then got to give props to Chris. He basically told me that I was an idiot for taking Denver, and I was. Once Teddy KGB goes out with an injury, I was like, oh, that bet's done. I mean, Drew Lock is just absolutely horrific. But by then, Baltimore was up by 10 or 13 at that point.
Yeah,
so
they were going to win that game either way.
They did, yeah. They did, though. I was correct with Fangio, like how he was going to defend Lamar. He made Lamar pass the whole game. Like, he was not going to let Lamar beat him with his legs. And maybe Lamar's listening to our pod, man, because he was like, oh, I'm going to show those guys. I'm just going to toss it all over the yard field. And Lamar was fantastic in that game. So maybe the Ravens are back on track.
So Teddy KGB went down and basically said to you, don't pay that man his money, right? That's exactly what happened when Teddy KGB went down.
Exactly, yeah.
And then I did notice that one absolute, what was it, like a 50-yard rocket from Lamar where he like rolled out and then just hit it on a complete rope all the way to the end zone?
Yeah, he's showing that he's got the arm and accuracy. Like, he's getting better and better. Like, just watch out.
All right, well, yeah, like you said, Williams, maybe he was listening to us and we provided some motivation to him. So let's, and to that end, let's give some bulletin board material to some other teams. Josh, what do you got for your first pick?
All right, who's my favorite coach in the league?
Are you going Shanahan here?
We're going Shanahan. San Fran +5 against Chris's Cardinals. Look, has there been a bigger shift in how we perceive these two teams since the start of the year? I mean, Shanahan as a dog is 23-16. That's 59%. He's actually 16-9 on the road in his career at San Fran. That's 64%. Look, and let's dive into this Arizona box score, their games a little bit more closely. If you forgot, they were down to the Jags by 9 points in the third quarter. Also, they should have lost to Minnesota if the Vikings kicker can hit a 37-yard field goal at the buzzer. Everyone forgets that. They beat up a
coulda, woulda, shoulda, Williams. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. They won.
They beat up a COVID-riddled Titans D and their terrible D in week 1. And then, yes, they did do a good job last week taking advantage of the Rams. But the Rams, let's face it.
Somebody on this podcast called that as well. I was waiting for you guys to give me my props on that, so I'll just do it myself. That was my upset special of the week.
Shout out to you, yes. The Rams were in a huge letdown spot there after taking down the champs the previous week. Listen, the Zona D is 25th in adjusted line yards given up. They're 27th in 10-plus yard rushes allowed, and they're dead last in allowing 5-plus yard runs. So why is that important this week? I mean, Shanahan loves to run these zone read options. They love to run the spread out to the side, out to the end.
And drive fantasy owners nuts. Tell me
Yes.
right now who's getting more carries, Sermon or Mitchell?
I have Sermon on my fantasy team, but I would lean towards Mitchell. I think he likes Mitchell. Mitchell's like kind of draft profile is very similar to Jerick McKinnon, who Shanahan was in love with coming out of college. Mitchell's got the 4.3 speed. But, yeah, San Fran's O-line should be getting a huge push versus the Zona D-line. And Lance is going to be practicing with the ones all week. Like I said, Shanahan's going to be scheming up these outside zone runs. He'll scheme up some runs for Lance. I love fading Cliff as a favorite also. And you've also got Zona coming off arguably their most impressive win in probably 5 years.
All right. Chris, Williams is basically the fire extinguisher here, just putting out our Arizona Cardinals heat. So, I mean, rebut him here, Chris.
San Francisco's defense is kind of horrible. And you're going up against Kyler Murray, who has shown over and over again to someone, and I'm talking about myself here, who was not really a believer when he came into the league, but he has done nothing but show us what he can do, especially this year. And against a defense like San Francisco, they just don't have the speed or the talent there. I think he's going to chew them up. I don't think it's going to be close. I bet you it's going to be 10 points, probably.
Wow, look at that. I love this. You guys going head-to-head, man. I love this. You guys going head-to-head. I do have to say this about Kyler Murray. I don't know if it's because of his short stature or whatever, but, he's just so exciting out there on the field. The way he just slips out of stuff and then all of a sudden just fires off a rocket. I mean, just watching Kyler Murray out there is just absolutely exciting.
Yeah, Kyler's awesome. And I don't really think San Fran's going to slow him down too much, but I just think San Fran can take advantage of this zone of defense.
So you like a shootout. You like a shootout here.
Yeah, I mean, I think San Fran runs the ball and kind of bleeds the clock. And listen, I mean, Zona could easily be 2-2 right now. So
all right, you made that point already.
Yeah.
Let's move on to pick number 2, Josh. What do you got?
All right, I don't normally like laying this amount of points, but I have to here. I think this is a smash spot for the Minnesota Vikings, -10. You can find it -105 on DK. They're playing against Detroit at home. Look, Zimmer coming off a loss is 32-15 against the spread. That's a 68% winning clip. But when the Vikes are at least 7.5-point favorites after a straight-up loss, Zimmer's teams are 4-0 against the spread. This is a really tough spot here for Detroit, playing in their second straight road division game. And let's take a closer look into the last 1.5 games for the Vikings D. We know that Zimmer's schemes can take a while to get all the kinks out and everyone on the same page, especially after a COVID year with some key pieces opting out. But the last 6 quarters for this Vikings defense versus Seattle and Cleveland, two pretty good offenses, they've given up 14 combined points. The Vikings are 8th in pressure rate, and Goff under pressure is the 27th ranked QB with a 56.8 passer rating. The Lions will be without 2, possibly 3 offensive linemen in this game. That is huge. because the Lions are allowing 16 yards per completion also on defense. That's horrendous. Getting back to their O-line, Ragnow, their center, graded out as the second best center out of 33 qualified centers so far this year, according to PFF. They got top left tackle Taylor Decker's already out, and top draft pick on the O-line, Penny Sewell, is very questionable to play. Hawkinson also questionable to suit up. Their the Lions' top pass rusher, Romeo Okwara, he's out for this game. The Lions.
Yeah, we get it. They're the Lions. Like,
Yeah.
you can tell us about all these injuries, but they're still the Lions. Even if these guys were not, or even if they were healthy, I'm not sure they got a great chance winning this game because of what you brought up first. They got Goff at quarterback.
They're also the Lions are also dead last in expected points added on early downs on defense. The Lions have injuries in their secondary too. I just think this is a smash spot for the Vikings. If the Vikings want any chance to win the division, they have to go out and win this game. The schedule gets much tougher after this. And listen, the Vikings could easily be 3-1 right now. So I think they're better than what their 1-3 record is. I think the Vikings smash Detroit this weekend.
I'm gonna start calling you woulda, coulda, shoulda Williams. You were just all about these things that might have happened this year that didn't. I don't understand this, Chris. How worried should Williams be about this Detroit Lions football team that we were promised by new coach Dan Campbell was going to be all about biting people's knees off and elbows off and all the above? I mean, should he be worried about that?
No, I don't think you got to worry about the Lions, unfortunately. Minnesota at home, it's a must-win game for them. Like you said, you're going to see Kirk Cousins out there doing what he does best, moving the ball, not turning it over.
He's quietly been pretty good this year. As much crap as we all like to give Kirk Cousins, he's quietly been pretty good this year.
Yeah, he's got 9 touchdowns, only 1 pick. I think his passer rating's like 105. Like, he's doing it well, and I think they really handle the Lions pretty easily. That's a lot of points, but still.
Put me in the other category, right? Like, I'm with you guys that the Lions stink, but like, to me, they've shown like a little bit of gumption to stick around games, and that's just an awful lot of points to put down. So count me in the other category there. Mr. Williams, your final pick. I'm ready for this when you told me to get my popcorn. Here we go.
Yeah, so we're going with Chris's team. We're going with Giants Dallas over 52.
Holy smokes, is Dallas scoring 49?
I think this game is going to be a shootout here. Like, the Giants lead the league in no huddle rate at 36%. They're 60%.
Should we worry that that's because Daniel Jones doesn't actually know how to run a huddle? Is that possible?
Like, Danny Dimes has been awesome lately.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean he knows how to run a huddle. I mean, come on, the evidence is right there for us. Almost half the time they're like, I don't bother with it.
There's 60% pass rate, ranked 11th on the week. That's up to 13th for the season. You got Saquon Barkley and Kenny Galladay appear to be fully back from their injuries, and Daniel Jones, currently PFF's second best graded passer, if you can believe it or not. I still don't believe that, but hey, that's what PFF says.
That's so sad that I have to live in a world where Danny Dimes is better than Carson Wentz.
Oh man. Opponents are throwing against the Cowboys at the second highest rate in a situation neutral basis, so any game flow within 7 points. The Cowboys games have averaged the 4th most total points. That's over 55. And despite handing off like more frequently lately, their contests averaged the 9th most combined snaps at 128. So Dallas still operates at the 5th fastest situation neutral pace, and they turned in the 2nd quickest pace of week 4. I mean, the Cowboys and Giants played last year in Jerry World in week 5, and prior to that Dak Prescott injury, that game was on its way to a huge over. So you got Daniel Jones as a road dog is 10-2 against the spread, so he shows up in these road spots when he's the underdog.
That's ridiculous. Nobody's ever said that. Nobody's ever been like, you know who shows up as a road dog? Danny Dimes. That's ridiculous.
I've 10-2 against the spread in his career. It's
all right. Listen, I'm not denying your numbers. I love your research and your record proves itself. But this is one of those times where I'd be like, you know what? You got to use an eye test here and maybe not what the numbers say. But let's go to the Dallas expert on this podcast and get his thoughts on what you just laid out there.
I mean, Dallas should win this pretty easily. They get 31 points on average per game. The Giants get 20. Right there's your 51. So you're right there. Dallas' offense has been on point. I think they're going to be running the ball all over the Giants. The Giants are 20th in the league against the rush. The Cowboys are the 2nd best rushing team in the league. Dak has been accurate as anybody has ever
MVP
been.
Dak. MVP Dak, our podcast partner. I'm going to go to you after this, Williams, but you say MVP Dak.
Yeah, he's been just super accurate. He's going to move the chains. He's not going to turn the ball over. I don't see the Giants having any shot, and I see Dallas putting up a lot of points.
One last question on Dallas, Chris. I know you're a bit of a Bill Simmons guy, so I mean, is there any Ewing theory potential here that the Cowboys just got rid of Jalen Smith and now that's going to make them better?
I mean, their defense has been better this year, and he hasn't really played anyway. Like, really not much. And they seem to be better. So maybe and I hate it because I'm a Notre Dame fan, and I was psyched when he got picked up by the Cowboys, but I don't know. Their defense is playing well good this year, and he's not been a part of it.
He's one of those guys that unfortunately is a cautionary tale for why so many dudes sit out bowl games now, right, Mr. Williams? You can touch on that and then tell everybody your Dak MVP thoughts because I thought that was good stuff.
Yeah, no, just to follow up here, I don't know if this game is going to be as easy as Chris thinks. The Cowboys are 24th in pressure rate. Danny Dimes from a clean pocket, over 9 yards per attempt. And the left tackle, Andrew Thomas, hasn't given up a sack all year for the Giants. So,
Jimmy, clip this podcast and send it to Daniel Jones's family. He's never been talked about this glowingly ever.
Oh, man. And the Giants might get Sterling Shepard and Slayton back. So get your popcorn ready, man. This is going to be a shootout.
Again, let me reiterate. I am not saying you could be wrong here, all right? I'm just trying to make a point that I think that it's got to be Dallas getting the majority of the points for you here. That's all I'm saying.
It's also pretty comical that he talks about average yards per attempt. He said nothing about that completion percentage on those attempts over 9 yards. So
look at that. You guys are like going head to head on two of these. You guys, there's like a rivalry forming between you two. I love this.
I mean, Danny Dimes tore up a really good Saints defense last week. So, wow. I don't know. We'll see.
This is incredible. Williams, listen, I love it. We're going to get you some property, to borrow another Bill Simmons phrase here, we're going to get you some beachfront property on Danny Dimes Island, man. And you can be the real estate bearer when everybody starts coming to the island.
I don't understand it either, why they play so much better on the road, but they do. They just play better on the road, and they always get up for this game in Dallas.
Because their fans hate them, right? The New York Giants fans hate them, so they need to get away from them.
But yeah, back to Dak for MVP. I mean, Dak is a solid pick for MVP. I mean, he's tearing it up right now. I liked him before the season, and he's probably a front runner for comeback player of the year also. So this offense is like running at like I think 58% success rate on first downs, and nobody else in the league is over 50%.
Even with Mike McCarthy as head coach, it's amazing.
Right. So they're getting those positive plays on first downs from Zeke and Pollard. I mean, that's just opening up the playbook even more for Kellen Moore. And Dak seems super comfortable right now in the pocket. So that's another reason why I like this over, man. It's just like this Dallas team is Dak. I can't believe how comfortable Dak looks at coming off his injury. So, yeah, I like Dak a lot.
All right, so to recap here, Williams is saying Dallas best team in the NFC, and Danny Dimes is your NFL MVP next year, right? Is that am I understanding right, Williams, that he needs one more year and then next year is the NFL MVP?
Don't be putting words in my mouth, man.
Come on, that's every podcast's job. Come on now. All right, let's move on to our picks. We've had an awful lot of fun this week, and you can tell I've been fired up to be back with my boys. So, Chris, why don't you start us off with our props?
Okay, so I'm going to go with one of your guys' teams, the Bears, on this first prop bet.
Dangerous.
Yeah, you would think so, but this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the under of 2.5 touchdowns for Chicago against the Raiders.
Wow.
You can get this at DraftKings and minus 180, but yeah, Chicago under 2.5 touchdowns. And they barely get 2.5 touchdowns as a total for their points. I think they're averaging 18 points a game so far this year. I do not see that trend changing, so I don't see them getting more than 2 touchdowns at the most.
Williams, what say you?
Man, usually I'm bashing the Bears, but Chris is going against – he's not going against Matt Nagy here. He's going against Bill Lazor, and Bill Lazor is now the play caller. And ever since Bill Lazor took over last year –
But just to be clear, Williams, Nagy is involved, right? I mean, he doesn't want anybody to think that he's like just completely leaving it all to Bill Lazor. Just so we all know he's involved.
Yeah, okay. I mean, when Bill Lazor called the plays last year, that's when the Bears made their run. Now, listen, I agree with Chris. The Raiders' defense is probably underrated here. But you have to also think about this. This is essentially the Bears' 9th home game. There are going to be a ton of Bears fans out in Vegas. So I don't know if that plays into anything. 2.5 is still probably a tough number to get over. But I don't like this bet as much as if Nagy were still calling the plays. If Nagy were still calling the plays, I would love this bet for Chris. But I don't know. We'll see.
All right, there we go. Again, Williams, Chris battling. Williams, what's your first prop?
All right, I'm going with Sam Darnold, Carolina, over 30.5 pass attempts.
Rushing superstar, Sam Darnold.
Mm-hmm. The last 2 weeks, when the game has been within 7 points, Philly, their opponent, has passed at a 70% clip, second to only the Pats. And Philly ranks first in situation neutral pace on the season. Carolina is operating at the 4th fastest pace. Carolina has been playing, quicker over the last 2 weeks. Their situation neutral pass rate has jumped to 60%, and they are, plus 10 in pass rate above expectation. So he's attempted 34 passes in every game this year, and the over-under on his pass attempts is 30.5. And the reason I gave those Philly stats is I think Philly creates the tempo in this game, gets it up tempo, and Carolina has to keep up. And I think this is a close game back and forth. So I like Sam Darnold over 30.5 pass attempts.
Excellent. I dig that as well. I think Sam Darnold is showing what can happen for a player in a bad situation moving to maybe a good situation, which is what I hoped for out of Carson Wentz. But Carson Wentz is still just not looking that way. Carson Wentz taking another shot for me right there. I'm sorry, Carson. Chris, your second prop.
We're going back to a Notre Dame alum. We're going to go over to Atlanta and Kyle Pitts. This is in London early on Sunday. Atlanta and the Jets. I'm going to take the under of 5.5 catches for Mr. Pitts. He's only had 5 catches once all season.
I can't believe they let the number go to 5.5.
Yeah, no. So you can find this at -120 at Caesars Sportsbook. But yeah, Kyle Pitts under 5.5 catches. Like, I think that's darn near a guarantee. I know Calvin Ridley's not playing. I still don't see him getting an uptick in catches.
Well, games in London tend to be a little on the lower offensive output anyway, right? Like, it's just weird for these guys to be over there.
Yeah, unless you're the Jags. They're the only team that seems to be successful over there. But yeah, everybody else has trouble.
Oh, I mean, I spent $45 on Pitts in a fantasy auction. He's just killing me.
Well, I don't know, man. I've got Pitts on my fantasy team. I'm going to disagree with Chris here. Not only is Calvin Ridley out, but Russell Gage is out. Not only are those two guys out, but the Jets starting safety, Marcus May, is out. Kyle Pitts is going to eat in this game. He's going to get double-digit targets. I got to go against Chris here.
Look at that!
I think all those,
set up a cage match between you guys for next
all
week's
those
podcast.
Plays that you're talking about. They're going to Patterson. They are putting Patterson in every formation, in every position, and they're going to use him as much as possible.
Cordarrelle Patterson.
That is funny. There is a clip on online that says Arthur Smith has Cordell Patterson on his fantasy team, and like he actually says it, but you don't know if it's cut off like 2 seconds before that. So evidently Arthur Smith says people are going to assume that you're on my fantasy team, but all you really hear is, "Hey, you're on my fantasy team," and it's like, oh my god,
that's great. That is absolutely great.
Yeah.
What do you got for your final prop, buddy?
So my final prop is, man, this is pending on if Teddy is healthy or not. If he's not and Drew Lock is starting, I absolutely love this prop, and it's Najee Harris over 14.5 rushing attempts.
Please. I spent $60 on him.
I mean, I hate the Steelers' offensive line. Big Ben looks like he's 80 years old. But this is projected to be a close game, and if Drew Lock is back there as the quarterback for Denver. Pittsburgh is going to have a lot of time of possession in this game. If they have the ball a lot, that means a lot of rushing attempts for Najee. He had 16 rushing attempts last week in a game that got off to a good start, but then ended up not so good. So, I mean, if the Steelers ever play from ahead, and you got to like Tomlin coming off a loss here, that's when he's usually pretty good. I like Najee here over 14.5. I love it if Drew Lock is starting for Denver. So keep an eye on the injury report for Teddy and his concussion.
I like your if there. That reminds me of something else that I wanted to say. This is going to come out ahead of Notre Dame's game on Saturday. All right. And Brian Kelly is playing cagey with everybody. He says he knows who his starting quarterback is going to be, and the team knows who his starting quarterback is going to be, but none of us know. So to that end, if number 10, Drew Pine, trucks out there for Notre Dame as their starting quarterback, the Irish win. If it's one of the other two, I'm not so sure.
Yeah, I probably agree with that. I think Pine should be starting, and this Virginia Tech game is going to be tough regardless. So, I mean, I think they might have had a chance to win if Pine plays the whole game last week, but I don't know. I thought Cincinnati was going to win that game going into the season. So
it's just more Brian Kelly BS with the quarterbacks, though, Williams. I mean, this is basically the same old story with him every couple of years. He gets a guy who is supposed to be a young hotshot freshman, doesn't play him, has another guy who's been around that he plays. That guy gets hurt. Another guy comes in who he didn't assume to play, and then that guy turns out to be good. And then now here's what you're dealing with. You got a grad transfer who basically shouldn't play the rest of the year. And then you got a young hotshot freshman who is not ready to play. But if Drew Pine's as good as he looks like, then the young hotshot freshman may transfer next year. I mean, Brian Kelly cannot figure his quarterbacks out, Chris. And can you tell that I don't like Brian Kelly?
You haven't liked Brian Kelly in a long time. And that's a problem with a lot of top-tier colleges. We see it all the time, whether it's Alabama, Georgia, these guys that come in, they were 5-star recruits. They don't get the chance they think they need, so they go someplace else, or they lose the chance that they thought they deserved, so they go somewhere else. Like, if you're a top-tier program, having too many good quarterbacks on your team is a good problem to have.
I guess, but we never thought we were going to see Deshaun Kaiser. We never thought we were going to see Ian Book. You know what I mean? It's just the same old story with Kelly. We're told that this guy's going to be the guy, and it never ends up being that dude, and then he ends up playing carousel. And it's just, I don't know that it's good for the Irish, and we saw it last week in that Cincinnati game. They were just all over the place.
Yeah, no, but I do agree with you guys. I think Pine should play and start.
All right, well, let's hope Drew Pine plays for the Irish on Saturday. Let's hope Mr. Williams gets back on his winning ways. Let's see if they go 500 in props again, and if they do, I am changing the rules because I am Lord. This is my podcast. It's the Morgan Podcast Network, after all. And speaking of the... Go ahead.
I will say Williams went with 2 overs this week. That doesn't bode well. I believe we both said that we should be going unders for these props, and so that's what I stuck with this week. So we may have a little bit of a swing one way or the other.
Well, Williams taking a chance to get one more shot in you right there, so respond.
No, Chris is right. I'm just trying to play the numbers here. We did have one. We talked about this before the pod, and this is like, I know this is not a baseball pod, but we got to give a shout out to Matt Roberts, our Boston Red Sox fan on the pod. I have a crazy Yankee stat that I think he's going to love. The Yankees last 20 years in the postseason versus the Twins, they're 16-2. Versus everybody else, they're 43-58. The evil empire. How is that even possible? And Roberts has got to be loving that. Also, shout out to Roberts. He's got to be loving the Black Friday matchup, Koepka versus Bryson. How about that?
Yeah, we know he's definitely in for that. So we will probably be having Matt Roberts, our man from the desert, on to talk about that. And baseball was killed here on the Morgan Podcast Network. So all of you old baseball heads out there, you can thank Williams for allowing that to get brought back up right here. He snuck that one in underneath the goalie. I'm not real happy about it. But what I am happy about is the podcast that came out the day before this one was the wrestling podcast. And it was as close as the WWE gets to real sports. It was a draft held over 2 different programs. Jimmy and I chop it all up for you, tell you what new faces on new shows mean moving forward. And the answer is we have no idea because only Vince McMahon knows. But it's still fun to listen, so check that out. We will be back next week with another episode of Balls and Brew. And maybe, just maybe, we're kicking up some sort of a pop culture idea for you so we can have another Morgan You Know episode as we creep closer and closer to 100. But I am slow playing it because I have no idea what I want to do for episode 100. So that one's around the bend at some point. Final word goes to you, Mr. King.
Goodbye, Internet.